Good afternoon.
Hey, hey Nathan. I'm glad you made it.
Yeah.
I was trying to find you on Entra to connect with you. I'm glad you're here.
Oh, I changed my name to make it more generic.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, if you have a pen and paper handy. So my handle is at poetpreneur.
Oh,
I'll put
that's
it in the
you.
chat.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, that's you. I
this
was
way it's more when people look up, poetry or entrepreneur or whatever. It's more generic sounding. So I put it in the chat.
sweet. Okay, cool. Yeah, I noticed that. Okay, I see that. Cool. Awesome. We're gonna let a couple more people in. Hey, Janine. Hey, is it? How do you pronounce your name? Is it Bottom?
It's pronounced same as Batman City, so it's Gotham.
Gotham. Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Hey, Gotham.
Yeah.
How are
Interesting
you?
name.
Good. How about you? Let me turn on my camera for a quick second.
Cool.
I'm sitting at my.
Hey. And hey, Janine. Hey, Elizabeth.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. Good to see you.
You too.
Hey, Elizabeth, are you there?
Hey,
Hey, nice to see you. It's been a while.
yeah, good to see you too. How's it going?
Great. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad everybody's here. This is the first speed coaching, and I'm super stoked to see all of you guys. So welcome, welcome. I have a few questions that people sent in, and we can start with that. I know how most of you heard of me. Gotham, were you on the Entre call? Is that how you heard about me?
No, I think my wife has. She's following you, and at one point I was supposed to attend the sessions you were hosting, and that didn't work out, and that's how
Awesome.
we set it
Cool.
up. So yeah.
Well, thank you to your wife. So guys, I want to start with your questions. Thank you for everybody who sent in questions. And we are recording, and I'm gonna play this back. And I am going to, let's see, I'm gonna put everyone on mute if I can figure out how to do that, because I don't think I've ever done that before. But no, I don't know how to do it right now, but everybody just, if you put yourself on mute, and then when you have questions, just type them in the chat or raise your hand and we can go towards that. So we'll start with the questions that came up, and then we can take other questions. So let me go over here. Okay, so we had one question. Let's start with Elizabeth's because she's here. Hi. Okay, so you said I have so many. How to okay, we'll answer both of them. How to grow a large community on a very small budget, and how to not get trapped in the funding race. I love that question. So you can instead focus on the business growth. Okay, so here's what I would say. And so this is speed coaching. So we're not going to obviously cover everything in depth. And, we'll continue to do this and see how it goes and see what next steps are. So, okay, how to grow a large community on a very small budget. I would say, so where, Elizabeth, you can unmute yourself. So where, Eric, maybe I can unmute you. Okay, where would you say that tell us a little bit more about what you're building and where your community is now.
Yeah, so my community is non-existent because I'm still in the process of building it. And so I'm playing in this world of like trying not to put too much out there before I have a product and a community place. So basically I'm building an app that like connects people in their local communities. So it's bringing people together through activities and things of that sort. Mm-hmm. And so really the only way the app works is to have a large user base, which is a large community that's interactive and wants to partake in utilizing the app in their local areas. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing. And where I'm at is I don't really have anybody. I guess Instagram might be the best place, but there's like 50 people on there.
Okay, 50 people following your business Instagram?
Probably. I honestly haven't checked because I just like so many I'm playing the funding race game. Okay. So there's only so many things I can do right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you doing a separate business Instagram?
Yes.
Okay. How many people do you have on your personal Instagram?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not like a influencer, probably just a couple. How many people on here? 421.
Okay. So more than on your business Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. one of the answers is you have to just do it and start building and look at, you know, you can hear all the advice about like all the million things that you can do or that you have to do. Do you do Facebook at all?
Mm-hmm.
If
Yep,
your
I do
are your
Facebook.
clients on is your target community on Facebook?
Yeah, they're definitely on Facebook.
Do you have a Facebook group or page?
I have a Facebook page. I don't have a group.
Okay. For me, for my person, so I always look at first where I'm always looking at like the closest path to money and the closest path. So if I'm looking at building a community, like I built a community around when I built my fashion business, I built it mostly through Facebook and a Facebook group. For me, that worked well because when you're building something like that, like that people can engage with each other in, that to me worked really well because I was able to get people into the group. And then they basically, so I had independent consultants selling my clothing across the country. So I had over 300 women that I recruited mostly through social media. And for me, the Facebook group worked really well because they were able to interact and answer each other's questions. So it built sort of a small viral community that self-perpetuated, and they would bring other people in. So I think Instagram will definitely like bring business to your, you know, it could bring eyeballs to you, but I would look at places where they can actually communicate with each other as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't started a Facebook group particularly because there are Facebook groups for this, except they're not efficient. So like the way that my app works is essentially taking people out of the Facebook groups and their communities and putting them into the app instead. And like other programs like this work, I just know that I can do it better than what's out there and I can have it make money.
Yeah,
So, like,
well, that's the key. Sorry, my earring fell off.
Yeah.
I'm taking the other one off. So that's the key is that, so what you said though, that other people are doing it, it doesn't matter because other people are always probably going to be doing whatever you're doing. So I believe in ignoring your competition because it's going to, I see it just kills businesses. It's like comparing ourselves to other people individually. And pretty much you can bet that pretty much everything has been done in some way. You know, look, like I'm a business coach. I mean, there are a gazillion business coaches, and it would be so easy to say, and I started doing this last year. And I started, you know, I mean, I could so easily be like, okay, no, there are like a zillion startup coaches. And then I realized, no, you know what? I'm gonna throw this out there and see who would be attracted to working with me and what people will pay me to do, you know, what value that I can provide. So that's a constant work. Like that's the mindset part, and just keep on going on your own path. So let's talk about the funding. So what do you mean by get trapped in the funding race?
So I'm spending a lot of my time right now, like pitching to pre-seed, seed investors and accelerator programs. And then it's like being on those phone calls and then having those phone calls turn into more phone calls. And it's like this constant like battle and like revamping decks and like doing all this stuff when I should be focusing on not only like telling my developer like where I need them to be, which I do, but I feel like I don't hone in as well as I can. And then also like building this community. Like I could be more interactive on social media and these places where I can put out content for free. That's not going to cost me anything but my time. But instead I'm just spending all of my time like trying to get money so that I can then, you know, do bigger things. So it's like, I'm trying not to get trapped in that race, but I don't know if there's any way out.
Well, I might look at, so you're talking about doing bigger things. What I like to look at maybe doing smaller things at the beginning. Because I always feel like, I truly believe in knowing what you want out of your business, because every decision that you make now affects how you're going to live your life. And So if you get really clear on what your vision is and how you want your life to look, and I mean, you can alter it and kind of adjust it, but I see so many entrepreneurs get trapped in that funding frenzy or the race, or all of the stuff that's out there. There's so much information out there, but being an entrepreneur means we get to do things how we want, right? So you might have a unicorn. I don't know. I would never tell somebody like, don't do that. Like, don't go out and raise VC money, because if that, like, you might be the next Mark Zuckerberg. But there are also a million different options in between that. So my philosophy is to look at a white glove solution that doesn't need. I like to do things without funding, because to me,
Excuse me, what's white glove mean?
white glove means like okay, so like Elizabeth is tell us what is your business again, Elizabeth?
Mine?
Yeah.
It's an app that like connects people in their communities based off local like activities and sports, hobbies.
Okay, so white glove, I'll give you an example and then you could probably see how it could apply to your business. So one of my friends he is an accomplished startup founder with successful exits, and he has a lot of money, but he always builds things with white glove. And what that means is, for example, he's building a startup that it's an AI startup to help people keep in touch with their contacts. So like say that I had say Elizabeth was you were one of my clients or one of my prospects, and that I would get to know what you're into. Like I would be able to send you a book, or to keep in touch, or know when your birthday is. Or you could do it, he does it also with friends and family. Like I know when my parents' wedding anniversary, things like that. And he's building an AI solution for it. And this is a very successful, like he's got a lot of money in the bank and he's doing it himself. Like people think it's actually the AI right now, but he is actually behind the scenes, like with a virtual assistant and figuring it out and actually doing it in a way that other people think it's an app, but it's not. So he's actually testing it, but also bringing in money so that he can get the traction to start building it. So,
okay. So like Matt, like doing it yourself instead of building the program for it, kind of thing.
Yeah, looking at different ways. And it sounds like you have a developer. Mm-hmm. So another thing to do is build it really small. It's that build like the MVP, or do less. Like one of my favorite books is Rework, and they talk about doing less than your competitors, and just do one thing to start, because then you can start getting traction, and then you can start building. And then, and if you do still want to talk to investors, maybe you set aside a chunk of time every week or something like that. But just remember, when you have investors, that does alter the path of your entrepreneurial journey, because you're bringing those other people along with you who then are going to have opinions and everybody you invite into your company is helping you to achieve your vision and could affect the direction of your path.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely helps. I really liked when you said like, what value can I provide? Because especially in a market that's like so competitive and there's like billions of apps and like, these types of things, like what is your differentiating value that's really gonna stand out, and then focusing there and then starting small on just that value.
Yeah. Yes. Cool. Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thanks,
so
Diane.
much. Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. So let's see let's go to Nathan, poetpreneur. So hey, so you heard my conversation about the poet yesterday.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I got inspired. I mean, I've been wanting to do this for the longest time. I just got off a call right before this, and I was just saying how, like, if I go freelance for greeting card companies, there's no royalties. Because honestly, if I were to freelance either for greeting card companies or people getting married or whatever the case is, as a freelancer, I'm not getting any royalties. I would love to start my own greeting card business. I just don't have the capital.
Okay.
Kind of like piggybacking off of Elizabeth's, sort of issue.
So you want to start,
yeah.
your goal is to start your own greeting card company?
I would love to. It's a niche greeting card business. I would hate to try to compete with Hallmark or American Greetings, but again, you know, they wouldn't pay me any royalties if I were to work for them
Yes.
as a freelancer or what do you call it? You know, an employee, whatever.
Well, there's so many
Yeah.
options right now, like through Etsy or other platforms.
Oh, I don't have the capital.
But why would you need capital to do that through Etsy?
I don't have the capital to buy the greeting cards. I don't have the capital for the paid advertising.
But if you do something like Etsy, that's it's all you don't print them until people buy them.
That's how that works. I thought you had to stock the items first.
Nope. I actually work with someone who does that. She blogs, and she also she sells, so she has a different category. Like she'll talk about like courage on her blog, and and then from the post she'll sell art, and her thing, she's a visual art, like a, you know, painting artist, but she'll sell the art, and she also sells the art on greeting cards. No, you just drop ship it. They just you know, pay you, and then you print it and send it. Like these are from Etsy. These are same thing. She prints them, so you have, when you have a time frame, a shipping time frame, and a production, and then she printed them and sent them to me.
So basically, I just have to take a good photo of an existing greeting card, and then, you know, put it on the display, and then when someone orders it, that's when I guess Etsy creates the card for you, I guess.
Yeah, there's also Google it. There's all sorts of and there's all sorts of different kinds of platforms that do that. But I would Google that and then look and see how they do it. But no, that's how people do that. They don't you don't have to have any inventory.
Okay. I believe my question was how to find clients that are getting married.
Yeah,
That was
so
the
I
question I
had
posted.
and just so everybody knows, so I spoke at an event yesterday, and I was talking about that, making money, like building revenue and doing the white glove solution. So I was working with somebody who is she got laid off from her project management job during COVID, and her dream has been to be an actual poet who gets paid. So I brought up that she was talking about how to, you know, she had a severance, but it was, you know, as it was running out, and she was getting nervous, and how can I build my business? And she was kind of stressing about the money situation, and she was thinking about getting a job. So we were looking at her options and thought, well, what if you could look at it in a way that what if you started getting paid to write poetry? And so she did. There's I can't remember which app she used, but there's apps like that, like wedding photographers use to get clients, and that brides are on. So you go to places where brides are, and you make a service offering, and they pay you, and you write a personalized poem for either their vows or something, you know, for their wedding. And now she's writing a book. So now she's been growing that revenue. So it's like, you know, small bootstrapping, but growing the revenue. So now she's actually able to take the time to write a poetry book. So,
Okay.
yeah. Thanks for your questions, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you for answering.
Yeah. Keep in touch, and let me know how it goes.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Do you think writing a business plan is absolutely necessary as far as getting an investor, a formal business plan?
Well, what investor? What are you trying to get?
Well,
an
I don't care if
investor
it's an
for?
angel or a VC or a bank or a friend or a relative or whatever. Just do you think it is absolutely 100% necessary to write a formal 20-page business plan or something?
Well, it depends who you're getting money from. I mean, if you're getting money from a friend, you know, I mean, I've gotten money.
Well, my friends are broke.
Okay.
Well, let's say from an angel or a VC.
Then yes,
same thing with my relatives. Oh, they're not broke; they're cheap.
Yes.
But
it is absolutely necessary, unless you get like super lucky and you're able to convince.
I don't have a rich uncle, and if I do, he's probably cheap because my family, it's like they have money, they just don't want to give it to me. So
yeah, it is absolutely necessary. I mean, unless like there's some rare somebody who really believes in you and wants to write a check. But yes, you do need to have a financial plan. But know that financial plans they're mostly guesses, and nobody really knows what
I don't have a crystal ball.
projections are going to be. Exactly. So yeah, so let's stay in touch, and thanks for your questions, Nathan. Hey Gotham, let's go to you. Do you have, I know you didn't send a question, but what's on your mind?
Well, I was writing about this a second ago, that what my nightmares are. We turned in an application to be in the Inc. 5,000 fastest growing company in the US, and might get selected. But anyways, my fear is that I'm not able to grow the company at the same pace, and somehow losing the plot. I really value the human capital and all the people who work for us. Want to make sure that we create a company which is sustainable, as well as a place where everybody wants to work, and at the same time grow. So sometime you get through these periods where you have no growth, or you're, despite of your best efforts, it's just results don't happen. I tend not to look at those results. But so right now I'm in that vicious cycle where I'm putting a lot of effort. My work week is 70 to 80 hours, normal work week. And despite of me doing that for constantly for last 1 year or so, I'm not able to get results, and there are multiple reasons behind it. So my nightmare is that I'm not able to solve the puzzle. Once you know the problem, you can work on it and solve it. And if you don't know the problem, that's where I am at this point. A lot of moving parts. It's an existing company. Been doing it for 5 years. So it's the growth. How do I continue growing?
So you've had the company for 5 years?
Yes.
And is it, and how many employees do you have?
About 25.
And do you have co-founders?
No.
Okay. And so I assume you're profitable. You're bringing
yes, means we've been growing at a good pace. 2x. My goal has always been, we've never raised any funding or anything. It's all self-funded, because in the business where I just had to invest time. I'm an engineer, so invested time, got some revenue, invested the revenue back in the company every year. Been doing that, so growing at a steady 2x pace. So in 5 years, we've grown probably 25x from where we started. But now every year gets harder and harder, because now those dollar values are bigger, and it just takes so much of effort, energy to grow. And those steps are now getting bigger and bigger. Funding is an issue, because I never raised it. You run into these periods where you're not able, you don't have sufficient funds. I have credit lines, but those are not merely sufficient. Sometimes we usually try not to rely on them. So that's where we are.
Do you have current investors?
No investors.
So tell us more about the growth. Where is that pressure coming from to grow?
It's just self-inflicted wounds, so to speak.
A self-inflicted wound.
Yeah. So it's nobody else is pushing me to grow. I just want to grow. I just hate stalemate conditions in this situation. When I was working for somebody, that's the reason I left. I just don't like stagnant. I just want to grow. Everything needs to just keep moving. That's just my thing. I just, whether I achieve 2x or not, I usually don't look at the results. My frustration becomes if the efforts are not happening. If efforts happen, result is just a matter of time. Sometimes, despite of your effort, things just doesn't move. And
what do you do?
I'm an engineer. We are in renewable energy field, so it's a consulting and in engineering procurement construction company. We take the biogas and convert it into either energy or renewable natural gas, and we are displacing the demand of natural gas and reducing greenhouse gases emission, which, environmental issue.
And what is it? So for you, what are you looking to accomplish with your business? Like what in meaning like on a more personal level, what are you looking to get out of it?
I don't have any exit strategy or anything. I don't have any that I want to get rich. I just want to make an impact. I just want to make an impact on this cause where we are fighting against greenhouse gas emissions and whatnot. So as far as I can push it, as long as I can keep going at it, that's all. I mean, money, it's great, but it's a distraction as well. I not inspired by money. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. So what does growth to you mean?
Growth to me mean doing a lot more projects within the country, being able to be on top of my field, and build a company which is reputable and everybody can rely on solving their problems. So work a lot with dairies, wastewater treatment plants, landfills, whoever has biogas, wherever it's generated. We just want to make sure that it doesn't go to the atmosphere. We capture it and we use it in some beneficial way.
So is that something that you're currently doing? I mean, are you currently
Yes.
reputable and okay?
Decent enough. I mean, but our presence is mostly in California. We're trying to grow outside California and in this space. Mostly, throughout the US, we're trying to grow.
And who's on your executive team? Not with names, but how does
Yeah, actually, that's a very good question. You hit it on the head. There's not much. I just have one person I hired about 6 months ago. He's the only second in command, and most of the decision gets stuck with me. I can only do so much, and I think I'm looking. For me, it's just mostly right people. I just truly believe in human capital. I have to have the right people so that they can progress the company. And sometimes it just doesn't happen. Sometimes I don't have enough time to interview a whole lot of people. Sometimes I've interviewed and things got to the very end and they pulled out, or a lot of things happen. So all of these things, like I did interview a couple of people and we made an offer and then they decided to pursue something else. So despite of my effort, it doesn't happen. So that's the time period I'm in.
Yeah. Okay. So I also strongly believe in the power of human capital, and to me that does make or break. Besides it really does determine the path and how you're going to go. Just like bringing in investors and everybody you bring in. What I have from my experience when I've brought people in at different paths. So when I grew, like when I built my first company that we got to $50 million, that was every step of the way. I had a specific goal in that business, but every step of the way, we'd look at, okay, what do we need next to get to this goal? And it really was people. And once we brought in an operator, like there were just key players, but the most important thing was getting people who, I believe that the company finding the right people who the company has to be a way for them to get to their personal goals. Because if you get that, like I don't believe that they have to be, not everybody has to be going in the same direction as far as their own personal goal. But the key is to find people who will see your business as a way to get to where they want to go, because then they will keep going when they have a personal tie into that. I have my group coaching program it's called Total Team Makeover, and it's on how to hire the right people, fire the wrong ones, and manage your team to get what you want. So if you want more information on that, I'd be happy to share that with you, because that's what typically that is a lot of what I work with my clients on, is how to scale through the team. And when I've had the wrong team, that's gone a different direction.
Understood. I try to, when I interview people, I try to make it a point that, we talk about what their goals are, make sure it fits with the company's growth objectives and whatnot. And if they feel valued, then only they'll have the motivation to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make it, I do make it a point, if I interview somebody, I do make it a point to discuss what they want to see as in terms of growth and how it jives with company's plan and whatnot. If there's a mismatch, it's just a matter of time before these issues surface.
Do you have specific roles that are open that you're looking to hire for?
Right now, it's wide open. A lot of engineering position, as well as chief executive officer, not chief operating officer, chief financial officer, and some of those key positions. But I want to take my time on those. I want to make sure that we have the right people who have the same mindset as I do. So it's slowly going very slow, but I've identified those are the things I need. But what happens is that in that time frame, I'm not able to fill, or the negotiation falls. It just keep progressing the time. I'm not able. Then year from now, the position is still open, and I don't have it. Then at that point, I'm still growing. Those things fall on my lap to solve. So it's just becoming a spiral now.
Yeah. I think, the hiring it's difficult because, and I a lot of my background is staffing and recruitment, and I've hired in my own businesses, and then also I've helped other companies hire for their own, and most recently tech companies in LA and Silicon Valley. And it's tough because it's not something it's like talking to investors. It's the same thing where it's like your role as a founder, you have so many different hats to wear, and recruiting and hiring is not something that is just, it's not easy, but sometimes it's like, it's like the side thing, but it is the most important thing.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a book. I have my book stack here. I'll show you. This is my favorite book about people. And
okay. Who?
It's called Who. I'll put it in the chat. I love this book. And I use that a lot. And the key to me is to have and also here, it's right here in the chat too, but the key for me is having a system, to a hiring system. And this goes for any stage really in your business, from bringing on, whether you're bringing on, like you're just starting out and you're solo and you're bringing on a virtual assistant, to what Gotham's going through and bringing on an executive team, is consistently having a system so that you're always able to talk to people. But I always do, like, part of the system is the first conversation is short, like always having people in your network, always recruiting, always talking to people, but also doing it in a way that's systematized so that you're not constantly going down rabbit holes and spending too much time on it. So, and we can talk, if you want to follow up on the conversation, we can do that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool. Thanks for your question. And then we had another person who's not here who asked a question, and that is Norm. And he asked, what are the top questions one should ask oneself when initiating a marketing or sales campaign? And that goes back to the answer to Elizabeth's question. And what is I always look at, I believe I love bootstrapping and revenue. I think, to me, people we can lose sight of the fact that businesses are really about making money, unless you're, I don't know, Twitter, but even they have to make money at some stage. They're actually doing a paid model now, if you guys saw that. But look at constantly analyze what is your fastest path to money, what is closest to money today. And I know what Norm does, because he's one of my clients actually, and he does he helps job seekers to get more money and to negotiate, and he helps also corporate employees who are at their job to get a raise, and he has a program for that. It's awesome. So really looking at, like, where do I have the most influence? And what is easiest for me? Like for me, it's like video is the easiest and fastest route for me usually. But for some people, it could be email. I know for Norm, he likes picking up the phone. He likes to smile and dial. So whatever is the easiest path for you and the quickest path. So I'm always kind of looking at like, okay, because as entrepreneurs, I'm sure you guys can probably relate that our minds are going a mile a minute. We have a million ideas, and it's part of our work. We almost have this like entrepreneurial sickness where we're just like creating whatever. So a lot of our work is dialing it in and honing in on what is, if you can just look at the next step. So, and I unless anybody else has any other questions, this is probably a good place to leave this, is just everything about a business and a startup is where you are today to the next step. Now, I do believe in having a personal vision and looking at that at least once a week, having it written down and remembering very, very specifically. So if it's like Gotham said, he wants to grow, like why? Okay, so I'll be looking at like, why do I want to grow this business? So my vision in my coaching business is to make the entrepreneurial path easier for startup founders, business owners. So that is my vision, and my mission is doing it through one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and providing other resources. So, but I always have to remember why. Okay. And part of the why is, it's my ultimate why is personal freedom. But I have to look at that and break that down and what that actually means to me very specifically. Like I can, when I read my vision, like I can smell it. Okay. Is that specific? So looking at that, and then just remember keeping that in place, and then so that's like the big vision of where I'm going. So I'll know where I'm going, but then the daily work and the daily, action is where I am today. And we can get like, the other work is not getting distracted by competition and what other people are doing, even what other people are saying. There's so much advice out there we can easily get sidetracked. One of my clients was, somebody told her, and she has a fantastic job. She's starting her business on the side. Not everybody can do that. She's doing a good job of it. And somebody said, you have to quit, like you have to quit now, or, it's really stressing her out. And it's just remember, people are going to give advice all the time, and there's so much noise out there. You get to be an entrepreneur. You are an entrepreneur because you get to create your path by doing all these hard things and putting yourself out there. Okay. Well, there's one more question. So Keegan asked, how do I increase my credibility? Can you unmute and explain that, Keegan?
I'm kind of a weird guy. Like I guess I have a lot of experience. I'm an engineer and a developer by trade, and I'm trying to start a company like in the fintech space. And like I don't like I haven't really done the whole pitch deck and business plan and things like that. But I've talked to like investors. I know a lot of investors, and like I have a problem like sounding like I kind of know what I'm doing. I mean, I've been in tech for probably 20 years, and I know a lot of stuff. I've made like a lot of money, or for other people, but so like I was talking to like a CFO, and we were talking about like this idea I have for Bitcoin, and I said like you can make money off of everything. It's not a big deal. And he was like, okay, like tell me how to make money. So I told him, and he did it, and he made like a couple $1 million in like a month. Okay. And now he's like offended. Like it's like I was kind of like telling him like how to run a company, and he's a CFO and I'm just an engineer or something like that. So now like I still didn't get any money, but like he's got 2 businesses that are technically my idea. But like how do I get investors to bite, I guess.
Well, I mean, getting investors, that's a big question, but I would look at like what you said about that. That guy is probably not your guy for getting to the next step. But when you're talking about your credibility, it sounds like, and you have 20 years of experience. That's awesome. I would look at, so it's really common for entrepreneurs who I talk to think that they are further behind than they are, and that they haven't, like, that they don't have a certain thing until they actually start breaking it down. Like you were talking about how to increase your credibility, and then talking about getting this advice. I think you, if I understand correctly, like advising this guy to make $2 million. So that to me is very
I think he wanted
credible.
me to be like I don't know or something like that and just hang up the phone. But like I don't know, like I wouldn't try this if I didn't know what I was doing. Like I
Yeah.
guess I kind of like I started at the end, I guess, where like the first time I saw a startup, it was being acquired by the company I was working for. So I
Mhm.
met the owners, they talked to me about like investing and like just how easy it was. And yeah. And so I kind of learned that way. So like I kind of know, like I'm kind of doing it backwards, where like I know I'm probably going to end up selling this company to like another company, and I'm just kind of
Mhm.
like trying to recreate their steps backwards. So, but like it's not that hard. You just have to like stay motivated and stuff like that. But I think my biggest problem is credibility, and I didn't realize how like just because I'm not much of a sales guy.
Mhm.
So just like how do I guess build my credit? Like, do I need like social media pages or like events? Like, what do I do
Okay. Well, one
there?
thing is, I mean, one thing at the core I would look at is how to believe in your credibility. So something that, a tool that I use is actually writing down what I have done. So actually looking at, okay, these are the things, even though, like I talk about them and I have the experience, sometimes like I'll be like, oh my gosh, like I'll feel not I don't know, not confident or something. And it helps me to write down all of the things that I bring to the table and all of the things that make me credible. It also helps me to, the longer that I've been in business, it helps me to actually realize how many people don't know so many things, even people who are incredibly successful. That helps me too. And it also helps when I talk to people who I see as like superstars, and then who are, and other people do too, and when I meeting with them or even reading their stories and seeing how much hustle they do. Like, I mean, one example I love is Sarah Blakely. And if you guys don't know who she is, she's the founder of Spanx. She's a
Yeah, I'm a huge
billionaire.
fan of hers. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's incredible. Just looking at like, and she just hustled. I mean, not just hustled. I don't mean to be diminutive, but it helps me to look at at other people's paths and how much they hustled and how much they worked, and knowing, I get to talk to entrepreneurs every day. So that helps me, because I'm like, okay, this, like, because I'm growing my business too. So I'll be able to look, I have these conversations and realize that. But and then as far as investors, it's I don't know what you're building or what you're growing, but you obviously have to have a path, you have to have a plan, you have to have, I always ask, do I actually need investors? Because you might not need them. I don't know, but I'm always looking at like ways, like if people are saying, okay, I need whatever amount of money for this. Okay, what is it that you're looking to build, and how can you do it without investors? They talk about that a lot in that book Rework that I mentioned too. But look, if you're doing that and you're building with revenue, you're going to have a business. If you're not building and you're just going out there and looking for funding, you might get funding, you might not. But if you're building a business, you're going to still have a business at the end of the day. So you're going to have something that you might want to still keep growing.
So the idea was like for like a Bitcoin bank. It's like similar to BlockFi. Like I was reading about BlockFi, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not structured right. It was founded by the Winklevoss twins,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean they have like a ton of money, but like it's not structured right. So they're like Bitcoin crashed, and I'm sure they're losing a lot of money, and they're probably like paying the interest payments like out of pocket until Bitcoin goes back up.
Mm-hmm.
But like I kind of had a similar idea.
Mhm.
And I wanted like $10 million in funding, which wasn't, it didn't seem like that much money to me, but like people, people like kind of gawk at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, how do I convince somebody to give me $10 million? Like if I would have gotten investment, it would be worth like 150 million now.
Well, you got to be able to convince
And
people that's true. I mean, it's not like it's easy to just get someone. I mean, if it was easy to get $10 million, everybody would be doing it. It's hard. I mean, there's a very elite group of people who are in the Winklevoss circle, who can raise money like it's, seemingly like this. There's that group, but that's not most of us. And if you're not in that group, you've got to have, by group, I mean, like, just.
is
Mhm.
it all like connections and stuff? Because I feel like they're not that bright. Like I
Yes.
mean they have like
Yes.
gobs of money, but like
Yes. I mean, look at they have connections, they have pedigrees, they went to Stanford. I mean, like I don't know the specific people you're talking about, but yes, it's a lot of it is about connections. That's why I believe that like we have this ideal image of what startups are like Andreessen Horowitz backed or like all these big names in Silicon Valley. I have a client who's a Series B founder who he has a killer business. He just made the Time 100 most influential business list this year. He left.
nice.
He started his business in Silicon Valley, but he left because of all of that bullshit. And there's so much, and I mean it works for some people,
They're
but he
just
let
super
he
super sensitive. I mean, like, and I'm from the East Coast, so like
yeah.
I mean, I'm very kind of rough around the edges, I guess, but
Mm-hmm.
it just feels like the best business people I know have the least amount of money, at least in tech specifically.
Well, keep focused on you. Keep focused on what you're building and how you can do it and what seems to make sense for you. And keep laser focusing on that. And remember what I said earlier about going from today to the next step and the next step, because looking at all those other things is probably not gonna work for you.
I feel like I should just like, I don't know, drink more.
that might work. I don't know.
I have
I mean,
a
if
quick
it's
question.
Yeah,
if it's
sure.
connection.
Yes, Nathan. Thanks, Keegan.
Just to piggyback off of what Keegan said, I guess it's at the room. What do you call it? If an investor, I know you're not a lawyer. I don't think you're a lawyer, but if an potential investor is not willing to sign an NDA or not compete,
Mm-hmm.
how do I know if I write that person a business plan or share my business idea? How do I know they're not going to steal it and use their money and resources to create a competing product and just call it something different?
Yeah, this question comes up all the time and it can kill businesses. The answer is you don't worry about it. Don't ask people to sign NDAs. Most people don't sign NDAs. No one's gonna, I mean, it is very rare that somebody's gonna take your idea, or if you have that, if you have an idea that is so proprietary that is going to change the world, then you can register it with an intellectual property attorney, an IP attorney. But my answer to that is do not worry about it. It's not about the idea as much as it's about the execution. When I built my business and I was raking in the money and growing and building, how many people said, every single week somebody said to me, "Oh, great business. I had that idea." And I'm like, okay, well, I'm the one sitting here making money doing it, and it is like 99% in the execution.
So let me get this straight. I can go
Uh-huh.
to an intellectual property attorney and they can patent my idea.
It depends
Am I
on your
understanding correctly?
idea. It depends on your idea. It depends on what it is. I'm not an attorney, but not everything can get a
Or how am I
patent.
gonna, but it's like I would need the investor's money to pay the attorney.
I
How am I
mean,
going to pay the attorney?
getting a patent is not that expensive, and you can do it yourself. But I mean, if you're, I personally, I just build stuff and I just go for it. I don't worry about that kind of thing unless, like, I don't know, what your idea is, but
I have several.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you that risk. So like, if you hesitate and you don't do it because you're afraid of that, then you're 100% not going to succeed. Okay. If you do it, the risk that somebody is going to take it and execute well on your idea is so low that, I mean, unless you have this phenomenal idea that is, I don't know, but I don't worry about that. And I don't believe that you should.
Because the way I look at it, if the investor has the money that I need, they're technically in a position to just do it themselves.
But if they were going to do it themselves, they wouldn't be investors. They'd be startup founders doing it themselves. But I mean, that might happen, but you could, I mean, what is that fear getting you?
Nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's an answer my own question. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys, this was awesome. Does anybody have, well, I thought so. To my own horn, but I really appreciate
enjoyed it.
Good. I appreciate your feedback. If you guys liked it, I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to put out more content. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you want to share now, or what else you'd like to see. And let's stay connected. Follow me on, I'm sure we're probably all connected on LinkedIn, but I'll put you guys on my email list. I'm going to keep doing this a lot. And I also have, I have a program that is based on how to hire, fire, and manage your team to get what you want to build your business. And I also have an affiliate program for that. So that's been pretty exciting. And Keegan's involved in that, and Janine, who was on earlier. And does anybody have any final questions?
Not from me. I'll get in touch with you. This was helpful. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good. All right, guys, so stay in touch. I want to hear how all your businesses are going, and we'll do this again real soon. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.